Welcome to Black Gumbo Southern Gardening. It's time for some things to go and new things to come in. That'll do. Mizuna is a Japanese mustard type green. It's in the mustard family, but it's very mild, and it's got these nice stalks here. This'll work well. I'm gonna need one jalapeno. There we go. Okay, we got our squash cut up into little discs. We're gonna drench it in flour, and then we're gonna put it in this egg mixture. This has Mizuna, garlic, green onions, Korean flake pepper, and salt, and some paprika for color. And then we're going to fry it. There's the end result. Crispy, soft on the inside, and delicious. Got a little hoisin sauce as a dipping sauce, and we're good. Time to harvest some beans. The beans are coming in, the cucumbers are coming in, the tomatoes are all coming in, and I've also got a pest problem to deal with today. And I got to get my onions harvested and dehydrated, my green bunching onions, because the heat's starting to take a toll on them, and I'll show you what I'm going to do with those. When you're walking around your garden and you notice something eating on your plants, take time to inspect. If I just look at the top of all these leaves, I don't see the culprit, you know. I might think, well, they're gone now. But if I turn the leaves over, what I'm going to find, oftentimes, let's see if I can get a good one. There they are. See those little caterpillars? Yeah, they're hanging out in the heat of the day on the bottom side of the leaf. But look at all the damage they've done to this tomato plant. And if I leave these here, they'll spread. This little plant has been the least performer of my garden bed. And yeah, it might have to go. I'm not entirely sure why this plant is not producing any fruit, and it's growing in an unusual kind of curly manner. It's a Dad's Sunset, that's the variety, but right next to it, here's another Dad's Sunset, and look, it's loaded with fruit. I mean, there's tons of fruit on here, and everything there is looking good. So perhaps it's just that particular plant. Maybe it's a weakling. Maybe it had too much stress when I pruned it. But whatever it is, it's weak enough that it has attracted the pests. And yeah, weak plants often do attract pests. I don't know how that works or why, but we're going to have to get in there and cut that out. All I'm going to do is take off this entire branch and this one. And those are the two affected branches that I can see. And I'm going to be very careful to put these in the trash. And if I see some more damage, I might have to get out here with some organic herbicide and spray these guys. But that's all the damage I can see. Maybe this plant will make a turnaround. There's some blossoms up there. And yeah, maybe we'll get some fruit off of this after all. I have these green onions, these Asian bunching onions, growing in all different places in my garden. Oh, and they're starting, as you can see, to get a little yellow and crispy, and some of the tips are starting to dry out. So it's time to harvest these, and I have plans for these. I want to preserve these, and the way I'm going to preserve these is with a dehydrator. So you don't have to pull the whole bunch up. You can just cut them off from the base and leave the roots to rot in the ground. And if you get a nice weather spell, they might grow some more onions for you. But I wanted to show you what they look like. So let's go around and harvest some onions. This I just found in my soil. This is very similar to the what you're going to find in your soil if you have squash vine borer moths. I believe the vine borer moth has a little bit of an appendage on the backside, but this is some sort of soil-borne moth that pupates down in the soil, And if you find these and they have a little appendage on the back of them, that's a squash vine borer moth, and you don't want it around. So there are probably more in this soil, and because I don't know what this moth is, it has to go away. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the roots on this, shake them off a little bit, because I'm going to reuse this soil. I'm going to get the roots out of here. I'm going to reuse this pot, and I'm going to put some okra or something similar in there for the summer. It's time to get my summer crops going. This one I already harvested from. I like the little skinny ones too. Alright, you can see I've come out here and cut every now and then from here. Let's see if there's any more of those moth pupa down here. I don't see any. It's very unusual that you'd find a vine borer in the soil where there was no squash growing, especially in an isolated sample like this this pot. Oh, I just cut myself. Alright. Well, there we go. We can reuse this pot. Take a good look at what's in here. I've been harvesting green beans. I've got a pretty good batch of them in the house, but there's a lot more, man. These things, they sneak up almost overnight, and it's about the perfect size right there. Yeah, let's get some beans. Alright, well, that's not bad, huh? One good summer crop for our area is eggplant. And so I bought these eggplants from Bonnie Plants, and I'm going to put them in here where the squash was before, and I'm going to grow a couple of eggplant varieties in this bed. And it's just as easy as digging a hole. Alright, here's a spot right here. You can see that this soil, though it is not mulched, it does retain moisture quite well. There's a big fat giant earthworm. That means we've got some healthy soil here. It stays moist because it's got a lot of organic material that works its way down into it. Every year I come and I put a layer of compost before the spring growing season, and usually before the fall as well if I have compost. Yeah, see, that really needs to get in there. And that compost has lots of moisture holding ability. Always water your plants in really well. That helps to settle the soil around those roots, and you could see that this guy was pretty root bound, so this will help. Over here in this soil you can see a lot of perlite. I recycle my, yeah, look at that, that's super root bound. I recycle my potting mix into my garden beds sometimes, and that's how that perlite finds its way in there. Alright, real simple, we've got eggplant now. Here's what the eggplant should look like pretty soon. You can see here, I've got some fruits already coming out on this one here, and something's munching on it. That looks like teeth. And we've got some blossoms though, but something's munching on my plant, and I don't know what that is. But I saw a ladybug over here earlier, and that indicates if the ladybug is here, there's something for it to prey on. And it looks like that dude flew off. But yeah, eggplant, it will grow through the summer heat here in Texas, zone 9A. Now, somebody did ask me in the comment section the other day about the fig dividing success and how it came out. Here's that little one we had, and I thought this one was going to be a loss, but yeah, it's growing just fine. Putting up a new shoot here. So this one had, I believe it had roots on it, while this one over here had a whole lot of greenery on it. You can see this one did not take. There was too much foliage for the roots to support. There was just a little bit of roots on there and a whole lot of foliage, so that's always a risk when you're dividing things, is you want to, you know, kind of minimize the foliage and maximize the roots. Get a couple of them. Looky here, chili tapin. Got some coming in. That's about the size of them. They're super hot. That bush is loaded with blossoms. Yeah, that's a success right there. our onions. Just gonna rinse them off and clean off all the dried parts, and I'm gonna chop them up. They don't need to be uniform in size unless that just bugs you. These thicker stems down here will take a little bit longer to dehydrate than the green, hollow parts of the stem. So just keep that in mind. I'm using this Presto Dehydro, and as it comes, these little grills are too coarse for what we're doing here, and the onions would fall through. So they sell these little finer mesh mats. And all you do is just load up your onions in an even layer across that mat. And I'm going to do this outside on the front porch because I don't want to stink my house up, make it smell like onions. You could do some larger ones if you wanted, kind of like that. Again, you don't want stuff stacked on top of one another as much as possible. All right, that's enough. Let's go plug it in. And there we go. Once those are dry, we'll store them in a jar and start another batch. Well, there we have it, a little bit of garden work today. Got some harvesting done, replaced some plants, anticipating the summer, and showing you what we do with some of our food. Thanks for joining me on Black Gumbo Southern Gardening. Please like us on Instagram, and I hope that you have a happy gardening day. Bye-bye.